Hey yo, what's good? It's your boy Mixtape Moth, and today I'm gonna hit y'all with a review of the new Russ album entitled Chomp 2. Let's get to it. Alright, so Russ is a rapper and producer coming out of Atlanta by way of North Carolina. Now this is the first Russ album that I've ever listened to. Last year I recall being tempted to check out his Chomp EP, but I never got around to it. But truth be told, I likely would not have listened to this new project either had it not been for the impressive list of features that accompanied this album. I mean, how can most hip-hop fans not at least be curious to hear how this album sounded given the guest list and production credits? Now, after listening to this project in its entirety several times, I have formed my thoughts on Russ as a rapper, and it's pretty obvious that he can rap well. The man definitely has bars and he can craft some decent hooks, but I don't find his voice or flow to be too interesting or distinct. But getting right into this new project, Chomp 2, which is the sequel to his Chomp EP from 2020, it contains 14 tracks and lasts approximately 51 minutes. But with that being said, let me go ahead and just hit y'all with this track by track breakdown. The opening track, Sheep, has a smooth and wavy beat courtesy of Jake 1. And on this record, Russ is pretty much venting about the lack of originality in the industry and how people are sheep and just his overall issues with women catching feelings too quickly. He raps, "I'm from the generation where it wasn't cool to be haters. Social media made everyone think they celebrities, but what have y'all done worth celebrating?" I don't have any issues with this as I like the polished Jake 1 beat and Russ's performance. Track 2, Blue Chip featuring Ransom, contains an attractive and up-tempo soul beat from Detroit's own Mr. Porter. Russ sets it off with a solid verse as he declares that this Chomp project will be the album of the year and asks that Bada and everyone else get their lists in order, so you can't knock him for having that high level of confidence in his own project. But it is undoubtedly Ransom who steals the show. He states, "Some people lost faith, had the presence to beat the odds, so many obstacles and hurdles for me to dodge. Put your face on a T, then ask, can I see it large? I'm passionately involved. I hope to free us all, but nothing can cost more than something that's free of charge." So we're getting some thoughtful and streetwise jewels from Duffel Bag Ram. Track 3 is Bucket Hat Low featuring Papoose. The beat from Russ has an operatic vocal sample, which isn't bad, but it does feel a little busy and also slightly dated sounding in my opinion. Papoose kicks it off with an energetic and clever verse. The man has had a hell of a year, and I think this was an overall strong verse from Papoose, but as a whole, I feel this song is just all right, and I'm probably not going to spin the block back on it. What comes next is Nothing New featuring The Game, produced by High Tech, who provides it to with a bouncy instrumental that fits with his signature production sound. While I feel both Game and Russ has solid verses, I didn't particularly care for Russ's hook, and The Game was name dropping excessively here, which isn't anything new, but it was just too corny for me. Therefore, I don't see myself revisiting this song. Track 5 is Salute featuring Westside, Gunn, and Styles P over a Ninth Wonder production, and here we get the trademark dusty, warm, and soulful bass production from Ninth Wonder, which is a great thing. Now, Russ delivers a decent verse that contains one of his many shout-outs to his mom, which is something I can definitely respect and relate to, as I would probably do the same thing if I was to make an album, but I'm not, because I know my lane is just to do these reviews. As for Westside Gunn, I feel he came through with a coherent enough verse. Styles P's verse was cool, but I thought I would like this track more than I did. It's decent though, perhaps I'm being too picky. On the following song, Faith, featuring Jadakiss, the two talk about betting on themselves, and this is set to a bright and cheerful soul beat by Russ that I could picture Cameron sounding great on. Russ raps, "High key the best out, y'all gotta respect the name. Not surprised you all sound the same, cause y'all dress the same." So once again, Russ is demonstrating his lack of desire to fit in or follow the industry trends. As for Jada, I feel he sounded good over this Russ beat. All in all, It's a solid song. Track 7 is Free, featuring Big K.R.I.T and Snoop Dogg, produced by the legendary DJ Premier, who provides the 3 with a golden instrumental that sounds like a trademark Primo beat. While I feel that Snoop and Russ came correct, it was Big K.R.I.T who had the MVP verse. He typically kills East Coast sounding production, and hopefully his new album will come out sooner than later. But I have this as one of the standouts from the album. Right after is Top of the World, which features a pretty impressive verse from Electronica over a buttery, smooth, Harry Fraud beat. Although Russ's verse wasn't bad at all, he was completely outshined by Electronica's well-written verse. Immediately after is the introspective posse cut Note to Self, featuring Big Sean, Wale, and Joey Badass. The beat, provided by Hit Boy, fits the mellow and reflective vibe of the track. It also fits with the sound of the blogging era that all these guys essentially emerged from. And I feel Big K.R.I.T would have sounded excellent over this production as well. Now, while I actually thought that Russ and Wale had decent verses, I wasn't too into Joey Badass's, to be honest. His voice didn't even sound the same. It was just an underwhelming performance from him, especially compared to the strong verse that Big Sean had dropped, which had several quote-worthy bars. But as a whole, I do have this as one of the standout songs. Track 10 is a Russ solo entitled Hustler Freestyle. And here Russ kicks some motivational bars on top of a smooth and soulful Jake One production. Russ raps, "What I do for all these kids is give them confidence. Y'all give them drugs and early coffins. It's astonishing." Yeah, I mean, I suppose Russ is probably a better influence on the kids than Travis Scott. All in all, I really had no issues with track 10. The subsequent song is Distance, which features Conway the Machine and Ghostface Killah rapping over an ethereal Alchemist beat. Russ's verse was pretty solid, but I didn't care for his hook at all. It just felt strange and not what I would want to hear in between Conway's and Ghostface's verses. The syrupy Russ crooning actually ruined the whole song for me, unfortunately, and it's a damn shame too, because I like Conway and Ghostface's verses. Conway rapped about how being woke is the new in thing for rappers. He states, "Went to the protest just to get a selfie to put on your pages, posted for the likes. Dog, you a star, you supposed to give us light." I wonder if this is aimed at any artist in particular. But as a whole, good Alchemist beat, dope verses from Machine and Pretty Tony, but a really weak hook from Russ. Track 12 is Get It with Cyhi the Prynce and Lloyd Banks. This has a jazzy piano back beat from Static Selector that pretty much encapsulates his production style as of late. I feel this track is the epitome of solid. The verses from Cyhi and Lloyd Banks were strong, and the Russ hook didn't bother me. Yeah, it was just solid rhyming over a traditional East Coast instrumental. The second to last song, Enjoy the View, is a highlight. This features a MVP verse from Mozzy on top of a bouncy and wavy Bink production. And after hearing Mozzy rap over this particular style of production, I wish he would broaden the scope of producers that he typically works with, because I feel it would add some much needed variety to his solo project, which are always consistent. Don't get me wrong, but I feel they lack the diverse and interesting enough production to complement his skills as an MC. But yeah, I would consider this to be one of my favorites from the album. Then the project comes to a close with the Russ solo Golden, produced by Boy Wonder. The first part of the soul sample is really spectacular, but then it shifts into a smooth West Coast flavor a little later on, which isn't bad at all. The only thing that I didn't like about this track was the ultra sugary hook from Russ. Overall, I give this album a rating of 3.5 mics, probably more like a strong 3.5, as it's a dope project where Russ demonstrates his love for hip hop. I feel it was refreshing, given Russ's popularity and fan base, that he would go out of his way to make an album that was so focused purely on his love for traditional beats and rhymes. Now, obviously the features carried this project, but Russ did display his skill set throughout. I mean, the man has clever bars for sure, and he's no slouch in the booth. But as I said earlier, he doesn't have the most distinct or interesting rapping voice, in my opinion. That being said, I really appreciate the hunger and passion that he put into this project, which resulted in a dope hip-hop compilation. The only drawback for me was some of the hooks, honestly, which at times were a bit too syrupy and sugary for either the particular beat or the caliber of the MCs present on a particular track. Also, as good as some of the beats were, others were just serviceable. Still, as a whole, I would say the production was strong throughout. As far as the features were concerned, I had the following as having the dopest or most impressive performances on this album: Ransom, Big K.R.I.T, J Electronica, Big Sean, Ghostface, and Mozzy. I suppose we could throw Papoose in there as well. Those were the ones that impressed me the most. But in the comment section, let me know who y'all had as having the best features. My favorite tracks include Blue Chip, Free, Top of the World, Note to Self, and Enjoy the View. Let me know what you thought about this album in the comment section below. It's your boy Mixtape Moth. I'm signing out, but be sure to hit that like button and please subscribe. As always, it's peace and blessings. Russ, Chomp 2-1.